morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nemeka Onyeka Obiareri. Today is May 30th, 2026, and as usual, Igbo, both at home and in diaspora, are remembering the Biafran Day. We will not forget, we will always remember. We'll remember the over 3 million kids, 3 million people that were slaughtered in one of the worst global genocidal human program, only second to the Holocaust of 1939 to 1945 that wiped and destroyed over 6.7 million Jews. We remember not out of bitterness. We remember not that we have not forgiven. We remember not because of anything, but we remember so that such should never be allowed to happen again. But while we remember, we also need to reflect. What do we do to build up an economic Igbo, an economic Biafra, massive economic Biafra that measures up like the Bavarian's economy in Germany that is over $1.4 trillion. I look back, I remember the great works and efforts that Dr. Michael Ihon Karobara, as a 39-year-old premier in 1959, the great works he put in place between 1959 to 1966 to build up the fastest growing economy in the whole of the Commonwealth, to do some of the 214-kilometer agro-industrial belt, over 214,000 hectares of agro-industrial belt. You know, what do we do as Igbo, as a people, to revive, to renew, to relive, and to expand on the economics, the visions, the 100-year visions of that excellent, that selfless, that creative, that extremely competent statesman? And I remember some of the things he did. Most of you have not heard about the Ereyi agro settlement. Ereyi agro settlement was one of the many agro settlements, agro-industrial settlements that Michael Obara built. It's a 4,800 hectares of agro estate that spanned Ebonyi, Abia, and the Cross River State. Ereyi, at the height of Ereyi had schools, had housing estates, had shopping complexes. I know there was an aged man that I met that told me beautiful stories about Ereyi, that he stayed in Ereyi for 1 year without leaving the city. That was a vision that was executed over 60 years ago. Now, in this age and time, when we have robotic technology, when we have AI, when we have superior knowledge, we expect those who purport to govern us and the people who live now to do better and bigger than what Michael Obara did. I was reviewing the budget of the old Eastern Nigeria, under the old Eastern Nigerian Development Corporation, the 5-year rolling plan. And I discovered that Michael Obara budgeted 37% of the South Old Eastern region budget for agriculture and a whooping 46% for education, which was one of the biggest in the whole world. I checked the value of the the allocation that he gave, capital allocation that he gave to agriculture. Then it was equivalent of about $82.125 million. Most people do not know that at 1962, the Nigerian pounds was equivalent to $2.80. So if you are to look at today's value of the dollar, that allocation that Michael Obara did for agriculture is worth today over $1.4 billion. If you have invested that money in TBS, it's worth over $5.6 billion if you had used that money to buy gold. And it's worth over $47 billion using S&P 500 indices. So you can see this young man then, a statesman, a glorious statesman, budgeted such a whooping sum of money, equivalent of today. Look at the federal government budget. What did they put as for agriculture? This was what he invested for. Capital expenditure on agriculture. No wonder within 6 years he built such massive agro parks. palm plantations, cocoa plantations, 6,000 rubber latex plantation in Ihe. Just go around Obudu Ranch. Today, what are we doing? So we need to put head together. I bear sharing this. We can grow $100 billion agro-based economy revenue every year in the southeast. I'm not talking about even the whole largest East region, the 5 southeastern states of Nigeria. We can develop new agro-based estates, cities that will employ young men and women, educated ones, and stem rural-urban migration under the instrumentality and the architecture of the missions community, diaspora, private-public partnership arrangement. We've put in place a workable strategic work plan, an executable strategic work plan that show clearly how we can build 200 units agro estates, housing estates that will provide decent housing for our youth in the agro parks that we will develop in practically every electoral ward in the 1,246 electoral wards in this current southeast of Nigeria. We have 2.5 million hectares of arable land mass, over 26 million people at home, over 50 million in diaspora. Working together, we can create an economy. We can build up the southeast economy from the current GDP level of $60 billion to $500 billion over the next 10 years. Working together, we have the template, we've developed it. So it's 4 a.m. this morning here. I am using it. Today is Remembrance Day, the Biafran Day, will not forget. But what tackles my mind, what pushes me, what energizes me every day I sleep and wake up, how do we collectively, as someone under the current setting, build up an economic bulwark, an economic Biafra that the whole of Africa will look up to as a shining beacon and light that will liberate Africa, that will liberate the black man, and we can do it. So let's keep talking. We are not bitter like Umuchukwu Okike. We are far above bitterness and malice. We are moving forward. We will remember, because we will not allow such to happen again. But we will remember to energize us spiritually, physically, and otherwise. Just remember what our forebears built, what Michael Okpara did, what Desamon Bakwe did, and then rally around our people to work together communally. Igbo are very communal and entrepreneurial. There is nothing that we set our mind to do excellently that we cannot do. The first and the only community-built airport in Nigeria was built by Igbo. And I can tell us of a truth. If we can shake off the shackles of the rawness that have surrounded this land and come together as a people to work together, we can build up an economic bulwark that the whole Africa, the whole world will see, and they will know that indeed we are the people of the land of the rising sun. Umuchukwu Okike. Thank you. You can reach me on 0813-444-1140. God bless you.